Hello, 6th graders. Welcome to Big Ideas Math, Section 2.3, Dividing Mixed Numbers lesson. Pause while you write Section 2.3 lesson in your math notebook. Pause while you write the lesson objective in your math notebook. Today's objective is I can divide mixed numbers by completing Big Ideas Math practice with 100% accuracy in multiple attempts. Today we'll be working on the examples in your textbook on pages 72 and 73. Take a moment to write the key idea at the top of page 72 in your math notebook. Let's read it together. Dividing mixed numbers. Write each mixed number as an improper fraction, then divide as you would with proper fractions. Let's take a look at example 1, dividing a mixed number by a fraction. Our problem is to divide 2 1/4 divided by 3/8. So remember from 5th grade, we take 2 1/4, we multiply 4 times 2, which is 8, and then we add 1 to turn that into 9/4. So that's the improper fraction. And then we're going to divide that by 3/8. So our new problem is written to the right. So we wrote 2 1/4 as an improper fraction, 9/4. And then we multiply by the reciprocal of 3/8, which is 8/3. So our new problem is right below. And when we go to multiply our fractions, we're going to divide out the common factors to make simplifying easier. And we know that 4 goes into 8 2 times, so that cancels out. And 3 goes into 9 3 times. So the top of our fraction, the numerator, is 3 times 2, which is 6. And the denominator is 1 times 1, which is 1. So our answer is just 6. And here's a model to check our work. Let's look at example 2. Dividing mixed numbers. We're dividing 3 5/6 by 1 2/3. We're going to estimate that 3 5/6 is close to 4, and 1 2/3 is close to 2. 4 divided by 2 equals 2. So we multiply 6 times 3, which is 18, plus 5 is 23 over 6. So our improper fraction is 23/6, and 1 2/3 transfers over to become 5/3, because 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5. So we wrote our mixed numbers as improper fractions. And then we're going to multiply by the reciprocal of 5/3, which is 3/5. So that's our second step. And when we multiply, we divide out the common factors, so we look for those. 3 goes into 6 2 times, so our 3 becomes a 1, our 6 becomes a 2. 5, unfortunately, does not go into 23, so we have to leave that alone. So we multiply the top. 23 times 1 equals 23. 2 times 5 equals 10. But that's still an improper fraction, so we divide the top by the bottom, and we come up with 2 3/10 when we simplify. So the quotient is 2 3/10. Is it reasonable? Is it close to our estimate? And the answer is yes. Now we're going to turn the page and look at page 73, example 3. Let's look at the remember box, because it's a good thing to remember. It says to be sure to check your answers whenever possible. In example 3, you can use estimation to check that your answer is reasonable. So our problem in example 3, we're using the order of operations, and it has us evaluating, which means find the answer, to 5 1/4 divided by 1 1/8 minus 2/3. So if we estimate 5 1/4, 5 is close to 5 1/4 is close to 5, 1 1/8 is close to 1, and 2/3 is close to 1. So 5 divided by 1 equals 5, and then you subtract 1, and that's close to 4. So let's remember when we get to the end of the problem to check and be sure if our answer is close to 4. So we're going to go through our steps again, remembering our order of operations. We remember that we need to divide before we subtract. So 5 1/4, we're first going to write each mixed number as an improper fraction. 4 times 5 is 20, plus 1 is 21. So that becomes the top of the fraction. The bottom stays the same. So it's 21/4. And then 1 1/8. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 1 is 9. 9 is the numerator, 8 is the denominator. So we changed both of our fractions to improper fractions. And then our 2/3 stays the same. We need to keep it there so we don't forget that we need to subtract it. And then we're going to multiply our numbers that we're dividing by the reciprocal of 9/8, which is 8/9. So if you look down in the next step, we are dividing out the common factors. 4 goes into itself 1 time, and it goes into 8 2 times. 3 goes into 9 3 times, and 3 goes into 21 7 times. So that makes those numbers a little bit smaller. So don't forget to tag on your 2/3 there so it doesn't get lost. When we multiply, we have 7 times 2 is 14, and that's our numerator, and 1 times 3 is 3. We can leave this an improper fraction for right now because we're not finished with our problem yet. Thankfully, when we divided out our common factors, it gave us a numerator of 3, which matches up with our numerator in 2/3, so that when we go to subtract, we don't have to do anything to make our numerators the same. So 14/3 minus 2/3 is 12/3. So when we go to simplify that and make that not an improper fraction, we take 12 and divide it by 3, and we get 4. And check our estimation. Is 4 close to 4? It's pretty spot on. So finally, in example 4, we have a real-life application. 1 serving of tortilla soup is 1 2/3 cups. A restaurant cook makes 50 cups of soup. Is there enough to serve 35 people? So we want to find out how many servings of soup we're going to get out of 50 cups of soup if each serving is 1 2/3 cups. So we're dividing 50 by 1 2/3 to find the number of servings. So 50 divided by 1 2/3 equals 50 over 1 divided by 5/3. So we rewrote everything as an improper fraction, and then we're going to multiply by the reciprocal of 5/3. And when we do that, we divide out the common factors. 5 goes into 50 10 times. We can't do anything with the 1 and the 3. So 10 times 3 is 30, and 1 times 1 is 1. Nothing to simplify, but we have 30 servings. So 30 is less than the 35 that we want. So there's not enough soup to serve 35 people. So we need to make more soup or not invite so many people. So there we go. Remember, to earn credit for viewing your flipped lesson, you need to complete your notes in your interactive student notebook, complete your on-your-own questions in your ISN, and submit them in Google Forms, and complete your Big Ideas Math assignment in your math notebook, and submit that when it is 100% correct. Remember to ask your teacher if you have any questions.